Have you checked out ChevetteReport.com? It's the newest cigar media outlet to keep you in the know with all things cigar lifestyle related. From press releases to reviews, we have it all covered. Be some of our first members to join ChevetteReport.com and be a part of the next step in the cigar culture. ChevetteReport.com. Welcome, Chief Modoc here into yet another Thursday Chief Talk here on the Bob Cigar Guy YouTube channel, bringing it slow, bringing it hard. Wrong content. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am so happy to have you here with us this evening. I and Bob Cigar Guy have a special guest on this evening, all the way hailing from Miami, and we'll bring him in just a minute. Bob Cigar Guy is still getting set up over there. You know him. You know Bob Cigar Guy. He just likes to make a fashionably late entrance. So he's doing his thing. We're going to give him a little bit of time. But we had a lot of people chatting it up in the comments before the show started. Welcome in Michael Zakovic, Gary Brooks, Supremo Tobacco. Welcome in the show, guys. You guys are going back and forth. There's so many comments. I got to try to figure out somebody else. Here we go. Matt Brugger. Welcome into the show this evening. How are you doing? Michael Zakovic. Oh, I already said you. Banker John. Welcome into the show. How are you doing this evening? Glad to see Gary Zanstra popping in here. So many, you guys were just going off. Cigar Pop. Welcome into the show. How are you doing this evening? Ronald the Man Smith, the Road Dog himself. Welcome into the show. How are you doing this evening? Tim Winters coming all the way in this hot day. I'm just saying his name cools me down because it's hot. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it is hot outside. So, Tim, I might have to say your name a couple times just to make sure it brings the temperature down for me. Tim Winters, ooh, a little chill down my spine when I said it. Jeremy Smith, the other Road Dog, welcome in. G Puck 99 says, "Sup, Chief? What up, G Puck? How the puck you doing?" Uncle Larry, Rick Carroll, welcome in to the show. If you are watching over on Facebook, do hit the like button, share it to your favorite Facebook groups, especially share it to the Drew Estate Facebook group. We do have the one and only Phan on the show this evening, but all your other cigar Facebook groups as well. We would love for you to say hello, let them know that we doing a thing. If you're over on YouTube, do smash that like button. It does help a lot with the algorithm over there. All the comments going, keeping the conversation popping and hot. Gets us put in the recommended, and we love that. Before we get any farther into the show, I do want to give a big thank you to our show sponsors, Drew Estate and Natura Cigars, making sure that Chief Talk is brought to you every single Thursday, except for next week, because next week is a holiday week and we won't be here. So we chose a really great night to have a special guest here on the show, Mr. Phan himself. So we're going to have a great show. Kick back, light up, pour yourself a drink. I want to know before we get started, what are you smoking? What are you drinking? I am going to be starting off. I don't know how far we'll get into this one. I don't know if we'll finish this cigar or not, but I'm going to be going with this new, the La Dominicana out of Drew Estate. Released at this year's PCA. I'm excited to smoke this cigar tonight. Not my first time with the cigar, not my second time, or my third time. It's like a lot of times with the cigar. I love the cigar, but I saved my last PCA one for tonight. Bob the Cigar Guy is here in the studio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself big face. Hey, yo. And before we bring our guest on, I will bring on Bob the Cigar Guy over there. Welcome into the show, Bob the Cigar Guy. How are you doing this evening? Oh, wait, you're muted. There you go.
Hello. Am I here?
You're here.
You
can hear you now.
Thanks, Chief. I am bored out and wide open. I just got out of the plant, just got home 7 minutes ago. Well, you've been talking for 7 minutes.
You said 7 minutes ago.
So 14 minutes ago. So, I mean, I literally just came in the house, kissed the first lady, and out the door
That's
I
enough
came.
time to shave, to shower, to eat, and be out here. So
really? Look, you talk for 7 minutes. Can I have a minute or two without you just talking over me?
I talked so long.
I know you're excited on Phan is on.
I'm very excited
on Phan is on.
Excited, by the way.
I've been walking around for a week in the studio every day where I work. I don't see you most days. And I say, on Phan's coming to the studio. On Phan coming to the studio.
No, he's coming on the
I've got a cigar that I'm going to be smoking in honor of my man on Phan. It's the H99 Phineas Gage from the first release from the Barn Smoker. These are houndstooth rare. I mean, these are hard to get a hold to because they don't make anymore. This is the simple band.
They make the cigar,
right? But they don't.
That's the pre-release.
This is the beginning. This is the.
That was at the Florida Barn Smoker in 2022, the Savage Feast 25-year anniversary.
And if you know on Phan, you know he loves the Lancero.
Well, I didn't want to say it. I'll let him say it when he pops in.
Too late. I done said it.
So that's what you're smoking this evening. Obviously, what do you have prepared to smoke second? Because you go through 2 or 3 cigars.
I'm going to double down on H99 tonight.
Oh, a little Toro
Now, I had a
action.
Deadwood Dominicana I was thinking about, but this H99 is just calling my name. It says, Bob, smoke me, smoke me, smoke me. And I said, okay, so while you do all the stuff you do with Chief Talk, I'm going to be Bob the Cigar Guy, and I'm going to cut and light my cigar because I really want to get to smoking this cigar. And Phan's going to be on if you didn't know.
Yeah. All right. Before we get in here, let's see what everybody is smoking. Let's see. Gary Brooks has got a Dumbarton Tobacco and Trust number 127 with Prussers, Rum and Dew. Becker John has a Legacy Maduro. It says it's rocking. Jeremy Smith says Hoya Dark Corojo and a Cherry Coke. Ooh. George Pablo. Ooh, third of the Road Dogs. Now we got 3 out of 4. I haven't seen Jay Bates pop in here yet. So maybe he's here.
He'll spring in.
Rick Carroll is smoking that Herrera Esteli Miami and an A&W root beer. Ooh. Matt Brucker's got the H99 Super Ancho with some Dr. Pepper. I honestly thought that you'd pull out some of the Super Anchos because you are such a fan of the Super Anchos.
I had them, but I wanted the Lancero Phineas Gage.
Oh, so G Puck is George. Got you. Tim Winters is drinking some Notorious Black. Did you feel the chill in the air when I said it? Tim Winters. Ooh. Boom. I got it right the first time. Michael Zakvik's got the Solita Red and a Yellowstone Select. Let's see. Matt Berger says he almost grabbed that Phineas Gage. Ronald Smith's got the Warhead X in Verner's. All right. I don't want to keep him waiting any longer. If you have been under a rock, if you've not been able to go to a Drew Estate event, if you've not been able to pay attention to any of the freestyle lives where this man has made a presence, this is notably one of the brightest smiles at any Drew Estate event that he attends. He has the most knowledge out of almost anybody I've ever met when it pertains to tobaccos, cigars, packaging, products, shipping, Nicaragua in general. This is On Phan. Welcome to the show, Senor On. How are you doing?
Yo, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me tonight. And how is everybody? Glad to see a bunch of homies tuning in. And yo, man, I'm just glad to be here.
We are glad to have you. I am. When I talked to you at PCA about you coming on the show at some point during this year, and you immediately said yes, I'd love to come on. It did my heart well. The fact that I'm able to get somebody of your stature in the cigar community to hop on here and hang out with us for a little while on a Thursday night means a lot to me. So thank you, On, for coming on.
Yeah, it's easy to hang out with awesome people, man. Makes it
My
makes
man.
it a lot easier.
My man. See, y'all don't get to see the unedited version of On Fawn, and when he gets started, he will just start. All of a sudden, he just starts to hemorrhage wisdom. And if you'll sit down and shut up, you will learn so much. And it's the stuff that just falls off of him. He ain't even grabbing the good stuff. He's just dropping off his everyday stuff. And I'm sitting there, I'm almost taking notes. I've almost taken my phone and hit record and just kind of left it there, because Anfon has got
Special
more
investigator
wisdom
Bob.
and kindness, generosity of experience and knowledge, and helping people have the opportunity, the best thing they can be. It's awesome now, and he can cook on a grill.
Absolutely. No,
It's going to take a while till you get to eat,
On
but it's going to be
Fawn-
good when you get it.
On Fawn single-handedly. Well, I can't say single-handedly. With Carabella and Ryan Rayford, you guys absolutely saved. What was it? Kentucky? Was it the Kentucky Barn Smoker?
Yeah.
I mean,
That or family reunion, something like that.
I mean, you guys. It was the Kentucky Barn Smoker.
It was.
Because it was right after Hurricane Helene, and you guys, it was like, well, there's nowhere to eat, but we have a grill outside, and there's a Walmart right down the street. Why don't we make a pickup order, have them deliver it to us, and then we'll just cook. And you guys cooked the greatest tacos known to all of Kentucky. I'm sure that the FDA was out there trying to figure out whether you guys are a restaurant or just having fun.
You know, the hardest thing is when it's not your kitchen. And I have a lot of respect now when I watch all these cooking shows and people trying to make badass food. And I'm like, man, that's not easy. You ever try cooking in other people's kitchen? It's not fun. It's like, that's not your gear. The stove doesn't work the same. And it's just like a little bit off. But hey, man, you got to try it. You got to try it.
Well, speaking of barn smokers, one of the things that we talk about here a lot, it comes up because there's so many people who watch the show every week. By the way, we are over 20 people concurrently at the same time for the 25th week of this year in a row. That is 100% over 20. So I'm expecting we will continue to crush our 30 goal as well, only being 15 minutes into the show. That is awesome. We have a whole lot of people, and I'm watching the comments over here. I will get them, but when you have On Fawn in studio, right? You can't neglect the man. So going back to talking about barn smokers, we have so many people who watch the show who have been to barn smokers and have hung out. Well, one of the things that we talk about a lot is like, kind of the stuff that they don't get to see. Getting that to go back to the hotel, and honestly, it's one of my favorite part of barn smokers is just hanging out after the show is done, and we're all just sitting there smoking cigars. And there are a handful of people who will make it to the 12 a.m. hour mark. There are fewer people who make it to the 1 a.m. mark. And then there are like 3 people who make it to the 3 a.m. mark. And you are always one of those 3 on Fawn. You love hanging out with the people, man. Yeah,
I mean, how often do you get to do it? Like everybody works hard, everybody wants to do their goals, and everybody wants to achieve. So, on a week-to-week basis, right? You're working, Bob, you're working late, I'm working late, I got work after this. But, it's that discipline that makes you successful. But when you can break out, and that's the beauty of being in cigars and the privilege, is like, yo, we're out on the road, and we're with people that want to spend time with us.
Right.
I got nothing but time for people, man. And you know what? I remember when I wanted people's time, they gave it for me. And it's a rite of passage. Just like people gave me the time and taught me, I owe that debt to the next generation of people that just want to learn. I don't care who it is. We all got something to teach everybody, whether, whatever walk of life you come from. And hey, man, cigars, especially when it's Drew Estate event, it's great people. I never have a bad time. I never regret it.
I love that. Now, I would be remiss if I got to the end of the show and I didn't ask you, Anfon, what are you smoking this evening?
Definitely smoking the Deadwood Dominicana. I had a couple of heavier cigars today, and I just want to reset my palate, so I'm back on the shade.
Oh, nice. That's a little bit of a topic we talked about last week about how many cigars in a day people smoke. And I was talking, I got to the point where some people are like, yeah, I smoke 12 cigars in a day. And I'm thinking, man, 12 cigars is a lot, but at the end of the day, when you get to cigar, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you've got to be missing some parts of the cigar, right? You've got to be missing some nuances, some notes and whatnot. But it's interesting to see that you decided to go back to a lighter shade of a cigar. Now, you are heavily involved in a lot of the blending processes, right? what is before we get into the full show, because this kind of just popped up and this kind of goes back, leans into our show last week a little bit. When it comes to you going down to Nicaragua or being in the offices in Miami and you're getting to do all of the helping with the test blends on the blend team, what does it look like for you, like on a palette wise, as you go through all those cigars, as you go through all those test blends?
Yeah, a lot of what you think about is number one, who is the cigar for? That's always Willie's question. And then I got to answer that. Is it for somebody, like knowing that a cigar smoker might have 4 to 7 brands in their regular rotation. So what type of smoker are we looking for? And, certainly there's market segments and stuff like that. But we think about, hey, we don't really have anything for mellow smokers. And right. That's been the case for so many years. We talk to our largest customers. They give us the analytics, and it says, you guys have a lot of Maduro, and we're really great at Maduro. We're good at explaining the differences between Black End and Undercrown Maduro, Undercrown 10, Liga Privada, number 9, and all the Maduros, right? And it's great to have. But, when you think about people that are not in the Drew Estate camp, and maybe they never smoked a Drew Estate mellow cigar other than acid, and they want to try something. Hey, man, that's what we invented cigars for. And when we're blending, we think about, well, what type of people would be smoking this? What type of interactions are the people in the stores going to have selling it to these customers? How do they sell it? How do our people talk about this cigar when they're meeting the consumers? So it's a lot of spending time just educating people. What is this thing really about, and why should you smoke it? Right. and we spend that time of like, sometimes we find really great tobacco and we're like, we've been waiting to put this thing out for years. And sometimes it's 3 years. And right now we've been working on so many projects, and it's been so much fun to work with Willie. And of course it's mind boggling to lock everybody up in a room and say, what about this thing and that thing? And we're going through this giant list of projects that I just came up with and my team comes up with, and we're like, what's going to be the cigar? Who's it for? And how's it going to live? Who gets to sell it? How many boxes are we going to make out of it? Because, based on how many boxes you want to make, well, that's how much tobacco you're going to need for these projects. And that dictates what you can actually put in the cigar. And it depends, when we're looking at, hey, when we want to do a national release and of a brand release that's got to live year after year after year, that's a different effort than, okay, there's a limited edition, very special, smaller scale project. And it's all about different types of people. So when you think, hey, this year we made St. DuPont, and now we added Savage Feast to that, that's right. For a different person than someone that's going to smoke that Deadwood Dominicana. Like the hardcore collector mentality, people that want the rare and things you can't really buy, go for it, right?
Right.
People that want to have a good time and want a very approachable cigar that they can smoke back to back to back. Well, hey, that's what Dominicana's for. And if you don't like sweet tip, just give it a try, right? And you'll find that sweet tip fades over time. And then it's like a nice, very chill cigar that you can get down with. And you know what? The best part is hand it to a homie, and they're going to do just great with it. Because I've given Year of the Rat to a new smoker, and man, that was a huge mistake.
Right.
I had to really spend a lot of time convincing him to ever smoke again. Next time I gave him an acid, and they're like, wow. This is what I thought cigars should be. I was like, okay, got you, bro. My bad.
Nice. Now that segues really well into talking about the Dominicana. I was telling you before the show started, I feel like, we as the Bob the Cigar Guy YouTube channel, like we've tried to highlight the Dominicana, being the brand new stick with the Freestyle Live. And then when the cigar came out, having the cigar at PCA coming back. And one of the things that we get to see at PCA that is hard to capture unless you just, put a live stream camera in the middle of the trade show floor with 360-degree lens and just let it go and let people watch it from a distance, right? It's hard to capture unless you say it, just how busy booths were. And this year at PCA, Drew Estate launched 2 things, right? The Dominicana and the St. DuPont collaboration humidor, which we're going to talk about a little bit during the show. We'll talk about the press release that came out today about the new Savage Feast addition to the humidors. But I'd love to talk about the Dominicana. Drew Estate's booth, you guys have been back for now 2 years in a row after taking a small break from PCA. Last year, you guys had the whole entire blackened booth. It was, you had Rob Dietrich there. It was a really good time. You had the big truck in the middle. You had the barrels everywhere. This year it was Dominicana heavy, and everybody was smoking the cigar around the trade show. Everybody was talking about the Dominicana. We had the chance to sit down and talk with some people and say, "Hey, how are things going?" They're like, "Man, Dominicana is flying." What kind of, for you being heavy in the process of bringing Dominicana to the world, and maybe you've already answered yourself, but I'll ask you again just so that we have it, fully on record. But when it came to the Dominicana, like what was it that decided, okay, let's bring Dominicana and let's bring Dominicana hard?
Well, one thing, and we've been working on this project for a lot of years. Deadwood, it's one of our flagship brands. It's a huge brand, and people love it. And so when people love a brand, you got to connect the people that love the brand and also make a new introduction to people that have never smoked the brand. And so for us, we're like, okay, we're going to try to create and make a new category of cigars, which is sweet tip premium cigars. You have some value offerings in the sweet tip traditional, but in traditional premium, there really isn't something like a Dominicana. So in our mind, we know that we had to make a lot of cigars to hand out and get people to just try. That is half the battle, whether you're in the retail store, online space, or other, is to just get cigars in people's hands. And once you're able to explain it and have people actually experience it, then you know what? People trust their senses a lot more than they trust what people say. And I think when people smoke that cigar, it surprises them. And I've been very happy with how the cigar has performed, and I couldn't be happier, man. The scariest part of the show, it's like you're on the floor day one, and then you're like, did anyone buy it? And yeah, a lot of people have bought it and rebought it, and that's the gauge of success. The first sale's the easiest. The harder ones are the second and third sale. And we're trying to make sure people, this is their go-to cigar.
I like that, and that's when you guys launched the freestyle for this cigar. You talked about it being just a huge momentous occasion, and you guys are taking you're taking it to the Dominican a little bit, right? You're pulling some Dominican flair, some Dominican flavor out of this cigar. But I think the thing that was kind of the most interesting is that this is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is like Drew Estate's first time taking like the super premium cigar and putting a sweetened tip on it. Like that's pretty important, right? Because you want to try to find a way to bridge a gap, right? You want to find a way to get cigar smokers who normally smoke the Ligas to maybe come over and try a couple acid, or maybe at some point try a Deadwood or something like that. And then vice versa. Hey, you're an acid smoker. We'd love for you to come on over here and try an Undercrown Shade, or, a Joya de Nicaragua Numero Uno, something like that. I like that this was like it's like a bridge. It's like you guys, I mean, obviously you do, the Brooklyn Bridge is iconic with Drew Estate and, the rebirth of cigars. And in a sense, it's like, this is taking it a step farther than the rebirth. This is the raising up, the maturing of cigars, right? You're actually trying to create a brand that, brings the family together, right? You got your raucous, rowdy side over here, and then you've got your nice, refined side over here. And you want to have that family reunion where they find a table to sit at together, right? You don't want them to stop doing their thing, but you want them to have a little bit of, a meshing point somewhere in the middle.
That's what great brands do. Great brands bring people together, man.
Right.
And when I see on the internet people in our Facebook group every day, whether they're hardcore, whether they're newer, and they're posting about it, I'm happy, man, because I know like people are enjoying the cigar, and nobody's posting up this cigar was bad. They're like, this cigar is awesome. I want more of these things.
Right.
And I'm glad, because it's like it puts a lot of people to work in Nicaragua. When you smoke any premium cigar, that is people that made it from their hands every day. You've seen it. It's amazing to watch, and yeah, that's what I think about when I'm smoking cigars. I'm like, there's people that work in Nicaragua, and I'm fortunate enough that I go down there every quarter, and we're just working on the next generation of new cigars and new cigar releases, and knowing that like that's gonna get a lot of people working, and as and we also know when you have something new, you're showing people who you are. You taste in the cigars. When people make great cigars, that's who they are. It's like when you go to a great restaurant. I was just at a great restaurant today, and I told those chefs, I was like, best food in the world is made with love, man. And they knew exactly what I was talking about. I was like, you guys are awesome. And it was a great kitchen. And I was like, we are expanding our kitchen with new ingredients. and making really awesome cigars. And I hope that people enjoy it. And I love when people talk about our cigars. I love that you guys give me a platform to talk about what I love personally. Because I mean, when you work on something for so many years and just cross your fingers, like, man, if we're lucky, people are gonna love what we put out because we put so much care into the work, and we work relentlessly to deliver and make sure that we didn't run out of product. Because I mean, the worst thing is that you get all these people excited to go smoke it, and then boom, it's not here, or hey, you got a couple boxes out and then it's gone. People get mad about that, and guess what? You never get that money back of all those turns you missed. So we're also trying to be good business people and good business partners to retailers that support us, in that, if you're going to buy a product, it's going to be in stock, and we're going to try to keep it in stock. We want to make sure that, the things that people love, we keep making them, man, and we make a lot of them. Right. So I'm always glad when I see that factory booming, because I remember during, some parts, in years past, it's like the Grand Salon was half full. And I was like, what happened? Pandemic, and nobody was really working. And it was a scary time and a sad time. But now it's like, yeah, we're rocking, man. And I'm feeling great about life.
That's awesome. We were kind of chit-chatting about this before the show started. And I think it was really interesting. I've never seen it before that you guys hard launch the Dominicanana cigar at PCA. Our mutual friend, George, at Come Smoke With Us down in Miami. I saw him at the show. I saw him at the show, hung out with him and the boys a little bit. They ended up leaving on Sunday night, got home, and on Monday they were posting up that they had their Dominicana boxes that they ordered at the PCA all ready to put on the shelves. And it wasn't just them. It was all of the cigar shops that are out on social media posting about, oh, we got this in. Drew Estate was out there making sure that, hey, you've seen all the hype about the Cigars of Freestyle. You've seen the people putting out the videos at PCA. You've seen all the lives from the influencers and stuff that were out there at PCA, or the people who are covering media, or the retail, or the people who work at Drew Estate who have a good following on social media posting cigars, and they're already there in the shop. And I think that's something that is crucial to success, because, and we said this earlier, you talk about a cigar, you post about a cigar, you make a bunch of social media stuff, and then you don't launch that cigar for 6 months. It's almost like, oh, why did you tell us about the cigar if you weren't ready to launch it? Drew Estate was on it and heavy, and they said, this is going to be the first PCA cigar you're going to be able to get your hands on.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've raised our standards a lot over the years. I mean, I was in a meeting, many, many years ago, and the salespeople said to me, it would be great if we knew what was coming out in the next, even 6 months or something. And I was like, all right, I got to do a better job working ahead of time. And when I joined the industry, everybody told me the easiest thing is making the cigars. The hardest part is all the packaging, and that's always the delayed part. And it's still true. But we raised our standards because, like, we want to make sure that, hey, we're going to bring the sizzle, we got to bring the steak, and that steak is the product in itself, and people are enjoying it and having it in their hands because they were excited about it, and it's ready to go now. So we're working on getting even better at that, and that to us is like what success is, and we try really hard. I've got Henry, our project manager, who's working with the team in Nika every day and just watching everything, and making sure that we can deliver and do the things that we say. We want to be people of high integrity, and integrity to me is always like, you do what you say and you say what you mean. And man, I'm telling you, man, we want to be the best at delivering for our customers and consumers that care about what we're doing, man. And we want to hear from people too. Like I said, like the moment of dread for me is like, does anyone like this cigar or not? I hope they do. And I always have that confidence and belief, because before we release it, I mean, so many people smoke the cigar. Like, we don't just smoke 2-3 people, but a bunch of people smoking. Like, what do you guys think?
Right. Father Cigar Guy, you were raising your hand over there for a second. What do you got?
Now, Chief and I are in a really special position where we consider Drew Estate our family. We've got to go see the factory. We've got to see how the sausage is made, so as to speak. We've also got to see the subculture in the Drew Estate community within the company. And many, many times since Drew Estate has been growing, if you are good at the job you have, they give you some more tasks. And then when you basically outgrow the ability to do that, they move you to another elevated position. They just create new positions to keep Drew Estate fresh and keeps Drew Estate growing and being able to deliver their tobacco, their cigars, right on time. I have two questions for you on. First question is, people probably haven't got a chance to sit down and ask you about your story, how you started at Drew Estate and worked your way up through to where you are now. That's the easy question. The second question is, in all the positions you've been placed in and all the opportunities you've had, what is your favorite position that you've been in, and what position would you want to see yourself when you're at the end of your season? This is the place I want to be done, and I want to carve out my niche right here in this spot.
Yeah, I started as a brand manager coming in with zero marketing experience, but a lot of business experience. I got a master's in finance, and I worked in a lot of corporate finance jobs. So I came from a very data heavy background and a very analytical background. Drew Estate was the first company that gave me a real shot at leadership. Because when you're brought in as a brand manager, one, it takes a company to be very cognizant that their brands are assets. And you need those assets managed in a way that brings life to your brands and make sure cigar is exciting for the people that love them too. And one of the things that I love at Drew Estate is that we always hire cigar enthusiasts. So when you think about cigar enthusiasts, a bunch of cigar nerds that love the craft, love the business. I started as a brand manager for Liga Privada, Undercrown, and Herrera Esteli. And eventually, 3 years later, I took over all the brands, and I've been brand director for quite a while. And, as I've gotten deeper in the company, we're working on more product development. Now I'm chair of the product development team. So it's like constantly working on the next round of innovations coming from our product portfolio, spending time with our customers, identifying new products that can happen to attract new customers and really grow our brands, and the thing about our brands too is like making it exciting for people. There's great swag that goes with it. There's a great smoking experience. There's great community when you smoke our cigars, and the Drew Estate experience, whether you're at a barn smoker, whether you're watching this show from your house, whether, you're in a store with us. It's just, every time it's different, and we're trying to bring our best. And every day we just want to show people who we are, and we hire, dogs that hunt. That's the thing. If you got the drive and you're willing to learn, and you're really great at just being a great person and a great business person and working through the business, yeah, man, we'll teach you cross functionality. I mean, you need people to be, like I've given up my brand manager, and now he runs the consumer engagement department at our company, and it's great to have that versatility because he understands what I need and from a brand perspective, and then he knows how to take on the new challenges of what makes Barn Smoker awesome, what makes the store experiences awesome. And so, yeah, it's like we encourage it. I mean, Henry was the tour guide at Safari. Then he took over Subculture Studios, and now he's a project manager. So, yeah, if you have the talent and you can work and learn, there's opportunity. We're an open-minded company where it's like, if you're really good at something and nobody's doing it, you got the opportunity to go work on something. Like I was just telling one of our guys today, it's like, there's nobody. He's like, who does this? I was like, nobody. So what that means is you can step up and that's your baby. And on a de facto basis, nobody told you to do it, but you own it. And that's our philosophy. We're always working, and we're always trying to evolve from like processes in the company, how we behave with each other, how we learn from each other, and also just like how we make our brands come to life. And for me, that is rewarding because I always get to see the factory. I see how Esteli has grown over the years, and just know that there's always more opportunity as long as we're continuing to grow. And, we're a successful business, and we're obsessed about our work, and we're all workaholics. I mean, I can't tell you how many emails I answer super late at night, but I'm like dedicated to my fellow person that's also working late at night. So it's a community of people that really care about each other. And I feel like it's virtuous because it's all about the people of Nicaragua as well. And so for us, it's like making that connection with people as they come in and touch our brands. And we want to make sure that like people have great experiences every time they're with Drew Estate. That to us is like so critically important.
I don't know if this is a phrase that's ever been thrown around any of the offices, but if it's not, I'm going to coin it right now. The DENA. Right, you're talking about instead of it just being the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, it's the Drew Estate, DENA. Nobody does the DNA of the cigar culture as well as Drew Estate, in my opinion. My opinion doesn't mean a whole lot, right? I've had the opportunity to travel down to Drew Estate, be at the factory, have a good time down there, get to see firsthand the labor that goes into it. But more importantly, I've had the opportunity to go to events, Drew Estate events, non-Drew Estate events, and I'm also big in the social media scene. Like I'm involved with social media all day throughout the day. It's part of my responsibilities here with Bob Cigar Guy. Part of the responsibilities for myself is just being out there and seeing what people are doing, and the only company that is covering every square inch of the cigar community on a social aspect outside of what goes on in the offices at a cigar company or a warehouse or whatever. Like Drew Estate has people in every corner covering every square inch, and nobody does that. Now Drew Estate is very fortunate that they have a very large operation, but I think key to that is they did you guys have done such a good job for so long that you have been able to concrete yourself in that department, and Drew Estate has profited from it in the sense of not just monetary profit. Maybe profit's not the right word, but you profit from it in a sense of the culture. You're heavily involved with the culture. You're heavily involved with the community. You're heavily involved with nonprofits and things like that, like Cigars for Warriors and other charities that give that surround around the tobacco lifestyle and whatnot. And you've got events going on all the time. Your reps are across social media, and the people who work inside of the building are on social media, and they're everywhere. And so that DENA is top tier, upper echelon experience for the cigar community out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from our just like we get really great people in the company, right? Like our sales folks, our territory managers, they're fierce. They're great business people, but they're also great people in general. And I'm very proud that we work for people that have great moral compasses, and they work hard, and they care about consumers and retailers. I mean, I hear crazy stories about some other people in the business, and they don't go visit stores, and they're just not responsive. I was like, all of our people are super responsive, because we know that's what it takes to be take care of our customers. And retailers have a billion headaches, and we're trying not to make another one for them on any scale. And there's can be a billion headaches that anyone has during the day, and we want to bring and make it easy for people to do business with us, and also consumers to be able to find our products and have a good time. And you know what? From the first time, before I even joined Drew Estate, I remember my first Drew Estate event, and I was like, I think that week I went to another company's event, and Drew Estate was the second event I went to. I was like, this is crazy, man. Just the people that showed up and the energy level, and I don't know what it was. And it's still like that today. Just like people coming in like, yeah, my favorite guitar here, and that's what it is. And you know what? When you can connect with people, and everyone's dying to be connected with people, whether it's online, on the or face to face, that face to face is becoming harder and harder every day. And there's so many people you meet face to face, and they're on their phone the whole damn time you're talking to them. And I'm like,
right.
At this event, you put away your phone, and you could practice your humanity and be a person, man. And guess what? It's not scary. Everybody's
right.
cool. And one of the core tenets I've learned as a cigar smoker, people are like, man, you are so generous. I was like, I didn't learn that generosity until I became a cigar smoker. When I did my first trade online, someone was like, we'll do a 5-stick trade. I sent my 5 sticks. I got 10 back. I was like, what the fuck is this? Well, it's called cigar math, duh. And what it's as a brother of the leaf is to give more than you take. And what a great lesson I've learned in life. I take care of service people. When I see people love their job and they're just having a great time, I reward them, because I'm like, you know what? You make me want to work harder, because I know I got it good too. And you know what? I'm having a great day now because of you. And that attitude, and it's infectious. And that attitude is with our people, because they love what they do. We have cigar nerds, man, and they're in cigars all day, and they love it, and they love the people, and they love the business. And me, I love all of it, man. And it's hard, but like, yeah, you take the good and the bad. But at the end of the day, you're taking care of your fam. At Drew Estate, you're taking care of your fam and your fans and the people that we do business with, and I love it all, and we want to deliver and be great partners for anybody, and that's who we are every day. We want to deliver, and when we let people down, we own up to it. We try to make it right, and that comes from our leadership. If your leaders don't care, well shoot, the rest of the company doesn't care. So when I got my boss Jonathan Drew, and he's hardcore working and constantly driving us to be better and demanding that we be better, guess what? We're gonna be better. And he taught us something. He's like, there's things called proof of concept. You're doing something to prove that something works. He's like, that's not always the case. You can have proof of learning, which is you're doing something just to learn, and the next time you're going to add more bolts and pieces and become way better at it. Think about Barn Smoker. First Barn Smoker, I mean, they were packing bags of cigars in brown bags that they got and put a sticker on it at like 2 a.m. under the tents when it's like 50 degrees out. First Barn Smoker. Now Barn Smoker is like, crazy amounts of swag, tents, and it's a whole circus festival. And every year that Barn Smoker gets better. Every year we're adding more, and we want people to have great time and recommend and say, dude, these Drew Estate guys are amazing. And I'll tell you, as a brand practitioner, I just took a tour of Maker's Mark, and I thought it was just like about the red wax and some kind of gimmicky whiskey, but when you go to that farm and what you see is farmland, beautiful farmland, beehives, flowers and gardens. It's beautiful, and and then you see a ton of crazy art. You don't even talk about whiskey until like way later, and I'm like, you know what? That shows you what they care about. And I learned so much about the brand, and I'm like, well, how does Drew Estate do the same thing and tell people who we are? Because I love our people. I love the people we're around. I love you guys, and spending time with high character people first. That's what we're always looking for, and just awesome people that is part of community, and people that will add to the community and enrich people's lives and not be an asshole. Because guess what? We don't have time for that. We have time to spend with people that are awesome.
Yeah, one of the greatest things about going to the Barn Smoker on the event day, right? As somebody who kind of gets to see behind the scenes a little bit from myself, but we went to our very first Barn Smoker, the first few Barn Smokers that we went to. It was kind of just come as a patron and hang out and just do your thing, and it was awesome to see. And you're right, Barn Smoker has just evolved into this mega hangout beast session, right? It's nowhere. Our first Barn Smoker was in 2017, and then even going from 17 to 18 was a big bump in what changed. And seeing what it is now, it's like, man, if you could have like taken yourself to transport, like, okay, here it is now, but in 5, 6, 7 years, this is what it's going to be. It's, oh my goodness, how could you make this any better than it is, right? And Drew Estate's going to do it. But what I'll say is what you're talking about with the going to lounges and hanging out and get off your phone, hang out, be with the people at the Barn Smoker events. Like the Drew Estate, the people who work for Drew Estate that are working, that are doing their job at the event, when they see you, it might be the first time they've ever met you, but it feels like you belong. It feels like you're right there in the mix. It doesn't matter how many followers you have on Instagram or how much you post on Facebook or whatever. As long as you're not, an idiot, right? You are openly embraced. You're brought in as one of the crew, and it's just a really good time to sit and hang out and have fun. And we hear that from when we go to Barn Smoker and we come back the week after, and we got to see people, because every Barn Smoker, people who watch the show every week, we'll have 1 or 2 people at each Barn Smoker that's like, hey, I'm coming because we watch you guys, on Chief Talk or whatever it is, and we want to hang out with you. We've got a handful of people. We've met probably, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 100 people from the channel who bought tickets to come to Barn Smoker to just come out and hang out with us, but ended up loving the event more and have gone back because of the event. It's so great and it's so fun. I think that is one of the things that Drew Estate gets right. I talk about there are brands that I hang heavy with, and there are brands that, even though they're successful brands, I just don't care for them, and I don't want to smoke their stuff because they're brands who kind of turn their nose up at the community. They want your money. They don't really care about the social interaction. They want to make their sales. And they want to get out of there. And I like you talked about earlier, you like to hang out with people of high character, right? I want to do the same thing when I spend my money on cigars, or when I take my time to bring guests on, or us do spotlights here on the channel. with cigar brands, we want to work with cigar brands who are high. You know, they want to take a part of the community. They want to be a part of the community. They don't want to just, rape it for what they can get out of it and jump. There are those out there. We just don't bring them on the channel.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, when your goal of the business is just to make money, you're gonna fail, right? It's just like that. That's not the goal. The goal should be higher purpose, and a higher purpose is connecting people, or coming out with new tobacco taste, or coming out with new category, and really, like, not just making people transactions. I think, like, that's where a lot of business people fail, where they just treat people like transactions. If you spend time to treat people like relationships and be really great at cultivating your relationships with your consumers, your retailers, and the people that you work with, well, then you can work on and do great things together, and you can listen to people's great ideas. And we get a lot of great ideas from the fans. I get a lot of great ideas from our people on the road. And, we take those ideas and we try to deliver great experiences for people anytime you're with Drew Estate, and we care. And it's just like, you can't teach people to care. You can't teach people to work hard. But if you find those type of people, keep them. And because they're going to keep it like a great business and a great company. And that's the thing that I'm so proud of. Like, so many of my friends work at Drew Estate and people I've met over the years. And I'm like, it's a great place, man. And I feel great because, like, we're working hard every day and it's very rewarding.
It is. Drew Estate is full of a bunch of men and women who do care. They not only care about the people, they care about the community, and they want to foster that. And I think that's something that I feel like you guys took into an extreme consideration with the Dominicana. I feel like this was a cigar that said, hey, we care enough about the traditional smokers and the non-traditional smokers to try to create a cigar that can make them bridge and then maybe try out a little on the other side. And the Dominicana, to me, is a cigar that basically says, it screams, we care about you guys. We want to make a high premium quality cigar with a little bit of the sweet and twang on it so that you guys are able to possibly, jump into more of the family, jump into more of the palate and ultimately go forward. So I love that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the other thing. When you go to the Dominican Republic, and we spent a lot of time at Mendez, is one of the largest processors in the world, and you just watch just the care of consistency and knowing that you're getting great ingredients from a fifth generation company, that put a lot of care into the craft, and knowing that, they work with a lot of farmers. And they're in the Dominican Republic. They're small farms, but they're very consistent farms. And that C98 that we have in that Dominicana has a natural sweetness to it that's just really beautiful and pleasant. And so for us, we're very proud of this cigar. It's just something that's, like, different and very approachable, where you can just smoke it back to back. And I love it when I see friends of mine that are casual cigar smokers and they dive in and get a box. I'm like, whoa. It's like when I see a friend go to the store for the first time and they're like, hey, are these cigars I bought any good? I'm like, yeah, man, you went to the store. All of them are good.
That's dope. All right, so we're going to transition here a little bit. Unless, Bob, do you have anything that you'd like?
I'll try and be as short as possible, but I got 2 points talking about the Drew Estate life and also the culture of cigar smokers. Last weekend, I got to go to Charlotte to a non-branded event by a group called the Cigar Rage, and they had a Cigars for Warriors event where people bought tons of raffle tickets, tons and tons and tons, and there were probably 20 or 30 different prizes, raffle prizes given away, and some people would be excited about them, some people really didn't think much about them. And then there were 3 Drew Estate things. There was the family reunion green cigar carry case, the leather one, and the oohs and ahs went. I think somebody tried to buy it from him after they won it. But also there was a box of blackened M81 and a box of Hoy de Nicaragua Dark Antaño. and the cheers went crazy. There was a 300 count electric humidor. They were not as excited, and there was bottles of Blanton, bottles of Eagles Rare, and all this other stuff, and it did not get half the. They said giveaway. Let's get to the cigars. And so it was amazing to see that in that group. But also, there was a new fella I met. I mean, you make friends as soon as you go to events like that, and the guy was. They were coming up to me and talking to me a lot about Drew Estate because, I mean, we are Drew Estate family. We talk about Drew Estate all the time. And so they come up and talk to me about the channel a little bit. But then they said, what's your favorite Drew Estate cigar? My favorite Drew Estate cigar is this, and this. And this one guy said, my favorite Drew Estate cigar is the Farrell. And I happen to have one because if I'm going to go to an event, I'm not going to bring the 5 cigars, 6, 7 cigars I'm going to smoke in the 5 hours. I'm going to bring 30, 40, 50 cigars, right? Because I want to be able to give out different cigars to different people and let them try new things. And a lot of the cigars are Drew Estate cigars. And so I told him, I said, I have a Farrell in my bag in my Travador. Can I give it to you? And he goes, oh, you can't do that. I said, don't worry about it, Bubba. I got you. And he goes, well, here, we'll take this cigar I was going to smoke. And I said, no, don't worry about it. He came over to me over 2 hours, probably 6, 7 times, and says, this cigar is fantastic. I love this cigar. I was kind of worried in the beginning because when he lit it, he only lit half of it. And I was like, that thing's going to burn bad. And he's going to think I didn't take good care of it. But he touched it up after he had got it halfway lit. And he just smoked that I think that's the only cigar he smoked from there on out for the next 2-3 hours. So the Drew Estate vibe, the Drew Estate love is strong, even in non-branded events. I mean, you go to a barn smoker and, you get that concentration of DE4L people. But even out and about in just everywhere else, you see people pulling out Leather Roses, pulling out. I saw some of the Dominicanas. I saw some Hoyas. I saw some Herreras. And everything was just all over the place. There was an Undercrown running around, and so it was really neat to see the love that everybody has for Drew Estate. And when those prizes came up, I chuckled. I thought that was as cool as all get out because that was beating a 300 count New Air humidor. They were not as excited about that. I think the guy wanted to trade the humidor for a box of cigars, and the guy said, "No, I'm keeping my cigars," which I was like, "That's pretty cool."
I wondered where my Farrell went. I had it over in my special little spot, and it was
yeah,
gone.
You need to lock your humidor.
I wondered where it went.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear because, if people love our brands, I mean, that's the great thing because it's like, hey, you're gonna share the brands, you're gonna share it with your best friend, you're gonna share it with homies, and if our brands are attractive and people get excited about it, well, guess what? We're doing the right thing, and we know people will get that cigar again because they love it, and that's hard to do because you got to earn that love and you got to give love. And that's why, you go to our events, yeah, we give great deals out, right? You're going to get awesome swag. You're going to get great cigars. And you're going to get the most important thing is camaraderie and friendship. And that, to me, is that's worth more than all the stuff. And guess what? When you have that stuff and you start getting a lot of that stuff, well, you start giving it away. And that's a great thing, too. And that's what we want to encourage in our community, for people to be generous, because that's what I was taught. And you're always going to be more enriched giving and more happy when you're giving than taking. And in the world there are takers in the world, but we're trying to teach people to give than to not take.
Right, and I love it. You talked about the cigar math, and how you're talking about you sent 5, got 10 back. Bob the Cigar Guy and I both we are big fans of taking more cigars than we plan to smoke because there are going to be people who there that we would love to just offer cigars to, so that one, they don't have to smoke their cigars, they can smoke the cigars that we brought. But also we might be able to give them a cigar because we are so blessed to have so many. We might be able to give them a cigar that they didn't want to put that money into, and just that culture, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first times I went out to a Herf, right? It was my Reddit days, and I saw a guy, he walked around the room and he literally gave every person in the room a free cigar. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then 6 months later, I went to a Herf and I literally had a carry-on bag. And my carry-on bag was 100% cigars. And I start opening up boxes and I was like, what do you like? Boom. What do you like? Boom. And I did that. And another guy, he saw me do it. And this was his first Herf. So he's walking around the room. and he hands everybody and their mom Kentucky Fire Cured. And one guy gave him like grief about it. And and the guy was like, I can't believe someone's mad about it. And I was like, that guy has a problem, because he doesn't realize you gave him that because you think like it's good and you want to share that experience.
Right.
And he's just being closed-minded and a jerk. And you know what? Don't feel bad about it, and don't make it not make you want to come back to a herf, because you did an awesome thing, my friend, and you're doing the right thing. And I think like those are the type of things you want to teach people. Like be good to each other, and don't be a rude person, man. Like it's all about sharing good experiences with each other. And I learned that. And when I learned that, it's like, that's why I carry around. I try to give people cigars. I try to be generous with my time. And so many people have been generous with their time. And, you learn and you get enriched by that. And when I get in industry events, I love hanging out with people because everybody has awesome stories, and you learn. And it's great when I meet somebody new and I'm learning a lot from them, and just love what they do too. Because you know what, we're all joined by our love of the leaf, and we love our cigars, man. And that tobacco is that's what brings people together.
And my first love of Drew Estate was the Kentucky Fire Cure Sweet. That was my first favorite Drew Estate cigar. Bob the Cigar Guy is over there chooching down that Lancero. Oh, sorry.
H99 big boy.
I have to keep eating. You should keep breathing into the mic, and I don't want to fuss at you. So. No. The Kentucky Fire Cure Sweet was my first Drew Estate love. And when we went to our first barn smoker, like I said, 2017, I was not really big into cigars. I really wasn't doing a whole lot here on the channel. I was just kind of doing some editing stuff. And it was honestly my real first experience with the cigar community, with Cigar Culture. And we went to the Kentucky Barn Smoker, and of course, you get the Kentucky Barn Smoker, the Kentucky Fire Cure cigars there. And I got the Kentucky Fire Cure Sweet. I didn't realize that the Sweet had the red writing on the band, and the regular one had just the black writing. And so I just grabbed it thinking it was the same thing. And I smoked it and absolutely fell in love with that cigar. And for about 3 years, that was my favorite Drew Estate cigar. Anytime, that was my favorite cigar at all. And so I talked to people would, ask me all the time, what's your favorite cigar, or what cigar should I go look at in a humidor or whatever. And similar to what you're talking about, your story is, I would tell people I love the Kentucky Fire Cure Sweet. And so people would go in and they would ask at humidors, hey, do you have the Kentucky Fire Cure Sweet? And they'd give them the look like, that cigar is the cigar that you want? And looking back on it, as somebody who's been in the culture now for a while, it's like, man, that kind of sucks. That somebody who's selling cigars, who's in the culture and wanting to, have more people to buy cigars, right? Because when you're selling cigars, you want to sell cigars, right? You don't want to turn people off cigars. But it was a cigar that's, decently priced. It's a full premium cigar. It's different than, your normal traditional smokes with the Kentucky Fire Cured smoke process on the leaf, and then the sweet tip for the Kentucky Fire Cure Sweet. But it kind of, looking back on it, it's like, man, that kind of sucks that was the reaction they got. But I will say 100% of the people that I recommended that cigar to, they loved that cigar, and they ended up going and buying the packs because you can get them in the soft tin packs. And that got so many people into cigars, and still today they'll say, hey, you want to come hang out and smoke? And I got some KFC sweets. I'm like, awesome. I'm coming to smoke with you. I'm going to bring some stuff too. So I love that. That's kind of what the show's been about a lot tonight, is just the culture.
And Chief had a great, I'll be honest to goodness. Chief had a great love for the KFC and the KFC Sweet, because, I tell people, when you go to a barn smoker, you basically pay for your cigars, most of them, because you get more than what your entry is, and then everything else is free, and that's the great stuff on top of it. But we would come home with our packs of cigars. You get your entry pack, and we would divvy up, and Chief would say, I'll take all your KFC Sweets, and I will give you the Liga A, and I will give you the Pappy, and I will give you this and this. And so I knew that if I had a sweet, I'd have to hide it, because he would go digging through the humidor and find them.
Taking my Pharaoh was payback for that.
That's the honest to goodness truth. Well, next time I go, I'm going to take your Bashert. No. And I'm going to give away your Bashert.
That's my deathbed cigar. That's my deathbed cigar. So speaking of the culture, one of the things that we have on is a Chief Talk Discord. And one of the things that I love,
that. Yeah, beyond that, man, I'm on Discord every day.
Absolutely. I'll send you the link. But one of the things that we love here is the cigar community. We care about the cigar community. We love the cigar community. It's what gives us our platform, ultimately, is people who come to sit and hang out and watch with us, and being able to have a good time and smoke cigars. But, creating the content out at the events, if there's nobody there, if there's no community there and they're not having a great time, people aren't going to want to watch those videos. Right. And so as people who, kind of, succeed in the video sphere, we love community. And so I created the Chief Talk Discord a couple of years ago as just a way to kind of do Chief Talk throughout the week when we're not here on Chief Talk. It allows me to see what the guys and the girls of the cigar community are smoking, of the Bob Cigar community are smoking and having a fun time. And one of the things that we have implemented, this is now week 9, is Chief's stick pick of the week. We have a spot over on the Discord where people
can't believe you didn't say it right.
Oh, I don't have the. I'll say.
Come on,
I'll do it right in just a second. Because I don't have. I haven't put the.
Don't be embarrassed, Honest here. Honest family, it's okay. He's seen you at your best in Nicaragua.
Yes,
so
yes,
there's nothing that you can do that would change. If he loves you now, he'll love you later.
What happens in Nicaragua stays in Nicaragua. Okay. All right. So what we have a spot over there where people post what they're smoking, whatever they're smoking, whatever they're doing while they're smoking. It's a spot where we can see what you're smoking, and we start talking about. We have all of these other channels that we talk about food and drink and hobbies and fitness and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that we've started for the last 9 weeks now is Chief Talk's stick pick of the week, and I go over and I muted you just because of that. I go through and I comb through all of the cigar pictures that are posted in the now smoking part of our Discord, and I decide which one do I feel is like I think is the best one that we've posted throughout the week. So this week we have a new winner, and this is Lane Crenshaw. He's out on the beach having a good time. This is Chief's Talk stick pick of the week. Chief's stogie picture of the week. Post a picture of yourself or your cigar on the Discord to be considered for next week's pick. Now, Bob Cigar Guy, what do you think about this pick?
I think it's all right. I mean, it's showing real life, right? Because you posted up some that are really picturesque and done well with balance and everything else. And this is just a real dude sitting down, smoking a real cigar, having a good time.
Yeah, he's got
making that moment.
He's got a little Alec Bradley action going on.
Is that what it is?
He posted 2 pictures. The other one did not have his feet in it. If the feet would have been in there, it would have gotten like ultimate points. Lane, if you are watching this evening or if you watch this back, remember toes in the picture next time. But no, I loved this because it's, he's out there, he's chilling out on the beach. He's up underneath that nice polka dot umbrella. The weather is nice, and he was just out there having himself a good time. Also, Lane Crenshaw has not won yet this week or this series. So I figured it was nice to rotate in somebody who's not a third or fourth time possible winner. But Lane, congratulations! So
now he's entered into at the end of the year where you're gonna be able to tell about.
So at the end of the year we're gonna compile all these photos. I have them saved on my computer. And we will go through and we will figure out in some sort of fashion or style who has the best stick pick of the year. And at the end of the year, after Christmas, right before New Year's, we will choose who was the stick pick of the year. And they're going to get a nice little care package from the Bob the Cigar Guy YouTube company.
Maybe Chief Bashford will be in there.
No. We'll pull out some of your Cubans you've got hidden over there in that little box that nobody's allowed to see. But congratulations, Lane Crenshaw, for this week's stick pick of the week. Post a picture of your cigar on Discord to be considered for next week's pick. So, yeah, we do. We have a Discord, and ultimately, the greatest part about it isn't trying to post the best pictures. It's just being a part of a cigar smoking community. And you've got Facebook groups out there. where people are posting, in their specific brands, like the Drew Estate Facebook or the Dunbar Tobacco and Trust Facebook page or Aganorsa or whatever it be. This is a place where not only can you post your cigars, whatever brand cigar that you're smoking, or pipe, if you happen to be smoking a pipe or whatever, hookah, things like that. It's all smoking. But we'd have our spot over there where we talk about food, whether we cooked it or we were out eating it, traveling, working out, and just having a good time. So yeah, I'll send you the link. Actually, if there's anybody else in the chat who wants to get a part of the Discord action, it is the second link in the description of tonight's show. All right, so
what we should do? We should definitely do a big giveaway for the Discord, because there's nothing better than bringing a lot of people together and building your community. And I'm a big proponent of it. Anyone that can bring people together, I want to support, because you're making a stronger community. You're making people be engaged in cigar smoking and being knowledgeable about the craft and listening to, other guests, not just Drew Estate. There's other people that can teach you about cigars and their stories and their brands. And I'm in a lot of cigar discords. It's a byproduct of when Reddit, that was a great platform. And I feel like I graduated from a great school of cigars. And I reconnected with an old mentor of mine on Discord. He had been in the hospital and been very sick. And I hadn't heard from him in damn near 5 years. And he was smoking one night, and I started smoking with him again. And it's been so cool to tell him all the things I've been able to do in cigars and all the things that he taught me, because when I started smoking on Google Hangouts with people. And all those people taught me, and I didn't know anything, nothing, man. And every night I was learning about a brand, learning about a cigar. I'd trade with people. They gave me something they loved, something rare. I'd give them something rare. And it was always trading. And it was always talking about cigars. Didn't matter what your brand was. It was just, what did you like? And hey, can you share me one of those, or where can I get that?
Right.
And when you can foster people and their enthusiasm, that is a rare gift. And that gift builds that community of people that all care about the same thing. Cigars, Chief, and Bob the Cigar Guy, and what you guys offer to people, which is a platform for people to be themselves, right? Like all the cigar discords I'm on, people trade cigars, and that's how they show who they are, right? And I loved Reddit because, man, I started trading so many times. Like every week, it'd be like 5-6 packages. I'd go to post office with stacks and stacks of boxes. And you know what? Like I said, it taught me to give more than I took, because I knew that I was making somebody's day. And you know what? Even if someone sent me sticks that I already had, I didn't care. Somebody cared, and it was a surprise every time. And that's why I recently got back into card collecting. So I've been buying all these old cards that are probably worth 5 cents, but I pay $1 for them, and I get like 5 more packages in the mail every day. I'm like, that's cool, man. Like today, I bought one card, and they sent me like 6. I was like, all right, for my $1, I got like 6 cards worth. I was like, awesome, man. And they bombed me.
What kind of cards are you into?
I don't know what got into me. I think I was watching an old memorabilia show or something, and I was like, you know what? I would love to have cards from when I was a kid. And I was like, I'm sure they're not worth anything, and they're not. And I'm like, this is awesome. I could get all the cards I used to have, and yeah, you could buy the whole set for like $8 or something, right? And I'm like, well, that's kind of cheater mode. I just want to cherry pick what my favorite stuff was, and it's fun. I got a little book, and I'm like, it's a very inexpensive hobby versus cars, which that's a much more expensive.
No, I my son has gotten into Pokemon in the past. My oldest son, he's 8, and he's gotten big into Pokemon. And last year I got into a lot of trouble because not only was I buying him Pokemon cards, I was buying me Pokemon cards. And like Pokemon's still making like legit packs still today. Like it's not just the packs from when I was a kid in the 90s or the early 2000s. It's they're still making new cards, and it's like it's not all just new Pokemon. It's just new cards of the old Pokemon that I grew up with, the original 151. And I got into a lot of trouble with the bank account, and my wife, she was like, you got to stop buying Jackson Pokemon cards. I was like, I'm not buying them for him, I'm buying them for me. She's like, you got to stop buying you Pokemon cards.
But you know what?
Pokemon cards, and one of the cards came out to be like $50, and you're like, Jackson, you don't get that card. I will put that away.
I got a $650 card.
But you know what you're teaching him is like have some enthusiasm about his hobby. And that's what all good parents should do, man. If you can just foster your kids' enthusiasm or whatever they like. I remember when I was a young kid, I was playing Magic the Gathering, and I started playing in a card shop, right? A little gaming shop or whatever. There's a comic book store on the side. And every week I played Magic. And I played Magic, I was like, 12? And I'd be staying out late at night, and my parents there were no cell phones, so I'd just be out late, and I'd be playing with college kids. And it was really interesting because I'd win because I had really competitive set of cards,
Nice.
When you're a little kid and you got a little allowance, you're spending every dollar you got on it. And it was the same thing when I got into cigars. I spent every disposable dollar I had on cigars and then some. And I was like, I solved a serious life problem joining Drew Estate. I don't got to buy cigars anymore. And it's amazing, man. Because I couldn't believe how many cigars I bought and how little cigars I smoked because I gave half of it away. I remember I'd buy a box. I'd be like, I'm going to keep one. I'm going to smoke one. I'll give the rest and trade the rest away. Fuck it. But you know what? I'd get great cigars back because of that. And I found good stuff, you got to share.
Right, absolutely. Now, getting back into cigars, I wanted to try to make this a 2-brand show a little bit. And we luckily got to walk through the Dominicana a little bit, but I'd also love to walk into what I feel like is another one of your babies. And Bob the Cigar Guy is smoking 2 of them this evening. He's already moved on to his Toro. I actually, for the first time in a while, have gotten to my second cigar in a show. That's the great thing about having such a prolific guest on is they have so much they can talk and I can smoke instead of me having to talk the whole time. Because Bob Cigar, he just sits over there quiet. But
wait, you don't breathe. You don't give me a spot to speak. I mean, let's be serious now.
Whatever. So another baby of yours that is the H99. I feel like this is a cigar that I feel I see you smoke a lot and you have a great passion about. When this got, basically relaunched a couple of years ago, you guys hit it hard. I mean, you came out with there's 5 or 6 different Vitolas in this cigar. There are a couple of Vitolas that, there was what was it? I don't remember. What was you guys put an H99 that's not a released blend like Vitola in the market in the Connecticut Barn Smoker pack a couple of years ago. I mean, what's the drive behind this cigar for you?
I mean, for me, it's about like innovation, right? Like, when we were working on the project, we're like, it's going to be the 10th anniversary of Liga Privada. How do you improve or bring a new dimension into something that the expectation is so high and it's almost impossible, right? Because everybody loves 9, everybody loves T52, everybody loves Unico. But, we decided to put our creativity together and come out with this cigar because it's like, hey, look, man, like we get rare opportunities sometimes to find a very unique ingredient that really is exceptional and tastes different. And I can remember the day they brought in that wrapper into the office and we lit it up and we're like, because we were struggling at the time trying to figure out what the blend of Liga, the next Liga was going to be. And when we smoked that wrapper straight up, those burritos, just like you smoked it, I was like, yeah, that's it. You can call this Liga Privada. And it was a really struggle because when reality came and we looked at what tobacco inventory was actually available, because at the time there wasn't as robust planning processes as there are now. We didn't have a lot of tobacco and it was very difficult for a lot of years. I mean, there was one year we literally had 0. And so, we've learned that it's really hard to deliver a product that everybody wants, and then you just don't have it anymore. So, yeah, I mean, we've had to work on this brand a lot in terms of making sure, educating people. I mean, I'm still in stores, and there's people that don't know what an H99 is. And so,
wow.
When we start talking about hybridity and our drive to innovate, and when we get a very unique material that is a cross of Corojo and that really special T52 Habano, and comes with that depth of flavor. It's one thing when you got amazing tobacco, but it's another thing to spend the time and really ferment it with a lot of care. Every day measuring that temperature, and inspecting that tobacco and making sure that it's at the optimum temperature and fermenting for, 18 to 30 months, on H99, 18 months, which That's double the fermentation time of normal tobacco. And that's where your depth of flavor comes from. You know, when those sugars get those opportunities to break down and you light up those sugars that are broken down, you can taste that beauty in the tobacco, and the oils come out. And, you know, just like when you're in the tobacco field and you touch the leaves, they're sticky. That stickiness and the crystals are all the oils are on the tobacco. And as you all know, when you go to Connecticut River Valley, those leaves are really thick. And it's a really exceptional material that gets you depth of flavor. And I'm going to tell you a secret. You know, that wrapper not only comes with just wrapper, there's binder material to it. There's filler material to it. And what we found is the binder is a really exceptional material as well. So for us, it's exciting to have high quality materials coming from one of the best farmers in the world in tobacco. And it's an honor, you know, that I can call that guy on the phone and just have a conversation about tobacco. And I'm honored that, like, you know, that guy gave us that opportunity to have that leaf, and we didn't waste it. You know, we took that opportunity and we decided to raise Liga Privada and come out with a new dimension that gives you a different taste profile. You know, and so we're really proud of it. You know, I worked on that project at a time of personal tragedy myself. And so, you know, it's good to know that in tough times in my life, you know, I put a lot of energy into this and it's doing good, you know, and I'm always proud when we're putting these things out, because people, as they get introduced to it, and even though it's been in the market for a while, like I said, there's a lot of people that still haven't tried it. So we always want to talk about it. We want to show people what H99 is about. And right now I'm smoking Super Ancho. So if you've never smoked a Super Ancho, you know, as you all know, Bob, I'm a Lancero fiend because I love the small ring gauge, because I love when in a small ring gauge format, when you have a really exceptional wrapper, like in the Phineas Gage, you're going to taste that wrapper. And that wrapper is intense. You've had the Perito where it's just like the Tabacchiato where it's just pure wrapper. It's intense. And when you have not a lot of filler leaf, it can be super, super intense. And then on the flip side, we decided to use the same material and then make a 60 ring gauge. So in this, you know, you got your Pennsylvania Green River one sucker, as well as Nicaraguan tobacco. So it's got a lot of oomph to it. It's got the Mexican San Andreas binder. And of course, the hybrid Corojo, Connecticut Corojo wrapper. That's, you know, something that we have exclusively, and nobody else has that. So for us, it's like, we're proud of it. And we always want to share more of it and teach people about this H99, which has a different taste profile. You know, it's like a more baker spice, and it's a very clean finish on your palate. And, you know, in our office, H99 is really loved as well. I mean, we care about it, man. And we're always proud every year when we're putting out more H99 and getting people excited about whether it's Phineas Gage, which right now is in our store events, and Super Ancho, you know, that'll be coming out later in the year. So we've got a lot of things coming from H99 and a lot of exciting things at Drew Estate. I mean, like, you know, we're getting into the second half of the year and we're not done putting out new products. You know, like a lot of companies, they're done with new products for the year. Right. And I have to say, we got a lot of stuff coming out for the rest of the year, and we've been working hard to deliver. And we want to make exciting moments happen for our fans, for our retailers, and you know what? I'm just very happy that like we're working hard, and we're gonna have exciting things coming up soon.
I love to hear that. Now you're talking about John Foster, right?
Yeah, he's a G, man. You've met him.
I love John Foster. John Foster is awesome. I love being able to see him at not only at his barn smoker, right? He travels to the other barn smokers, and I saw him at PCA. You know, it's awesome to be able to see him. He's such a cool guy to be around. But he cares so much about his product and what he, you know, not only what he just does, but you know, making sure that he can get you guys what you guys need to make that cigar. And you talked briefly about the Tabacchiato that you can experience only at the Tour de Liga, right? And we got to experience, as you guys did, the media Tour de Liga at PCA this year, which we put up a video on for our PCA coverage, sponsored by Drew Estate. And that was my favorite Tabacchiato of the whole entire 3 cigar experience. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about the Tabacchiato is Bob Cigar Guy is not much of a retrohaler. I retrohale. I don't retrohale like Will McFall retrohales, but I retrohale every cigar a few times throughout the cigar. And one of the reasons that I retrohale a cigar is because I pull a lot of the sweetness out of a cigar through the retrohale. That's where I pull a lot of the sweetness out of. Not like the manufactured sweetness with a sweetened cap or an infusion or anything like that, but the natural sweetness of the tobacco that you get. I really experience a lot of that out of the retro. And when we had the Tabacchiatos at PCA for the Tour de Liga experience, I got so much of it in just such a powerhouse. Obviously, because it's the leaf, right? It's just the leaf. It's not the blend.
Raw power, man. Like,
right.
When you think about the blend, like think about Liga 9 and 52. You know what balances 9 and 52? It's the Matafina. The Matafina has a natural sweetness to it, which balances out the boldness of the 9 and the broadleaf.
Right.
And the T52, I mean, that's also bold. So you need that Matafina to give it a sweet component. On the H99 and the Aniversario, we've got Mexican San Andreas, which has bite and punch, right? But it's Mexican San Andreas, which also has a natural sweetness to it, too, to give it that balance. Because, yeah, if we try to just make an imbalanced powerhouse cigar, no one's going to be able to smoke it. Or maybe they can smoke one. So, we're trying to make cigars that people can enjoy round after round. And be proud of it, that like when you're smoking a Liga and you're gonna spend that kind of money, we want to deliver and deliver something that the people, when they're smoking, they're proud to smoke and they enjoy the experience and they want to share it with other people. And that's what great cigars do. Like I said, connects people, and you want to share it and talk about it.
Right.
But I'll tell you, you can spend all day in a lounge and not hear a single person talk about a single cigar either. But guess what? There's still people that buy the cigars, and you don't have to be a geek to smoke cigars. You just have to enjoy it. And it doesn't matter if you know what the wrapper is or what you're even tasting or how you even articulate it. But if you're smoking, hey, man, you're part of the brotherhood of the leaf. And that's a big thing.
Right. I think that's so important. I think you're absolutely right. You can go to a cigar lounge and you can not hear people talk a single nerdy thing about tobacco. And that's something that came up in a conversation over on the Discord not too long ago was, do you pull a lot of flavors out of cigars or do you not? Or do you just smoke cigars because you like those cigars? Maybe you're not pulling out the nuances of the cigars, but one, it's not leaving a heavy taste on your palate. It doesn't taste, you're not tasting something bad. Because we've all had bad tasting cigars, right? At some point in our cigar smoking line, we've smoked something that's like, yeah, I'm not going to smoke that again. Now, there's cigars that taste good but smoke bad because they're either too tight or too loose or it didn't burn right or whatever. And I encourage people to go back and try those cigars again. Maybe they just got, one out of the 100 through that roller's hour, that was a bad smoke or whatever. But I like that, you can go to a cigar lounge and you can not hear one nerdy thought about the tobacco of the cigars. But I will say, like, I'm somebody, I don't pull a lot of I'm not a cigar reviewer, right? Bob the Cigar Guy is a cigar reviewer. He's somebody who kind of specializes in, this is what I'm tasting here. This is the kind of essence of something that I'm getting out of this. Maybe I can't give you an exact flavor, but I can give you kind of what the mood sets or what the tone says about the cigar, how it's going or what, how it's burning. But I do love that, when it comes to these cigars, and especially for me, Drew Estate cigars smoke, across the table for me, some of the best cigars out there for a brand across the board. And Drew Estate's a huge brand. Like, it's not like you've got big brands who sell a lot of cigars, but they only have, maybe 20 or 30 different, facings or whatever. And some of those facings are just different vitolas of the same cigar. Drew Estate's knocking it out of the park with, so many out there. Right. Not only, vitolas, but brands. And speaking of vitolas and speaking of this brand, do you have, as one of the fathers of H99, right? Do you have a favorite kid out of the H99 lineup?
It's got to be that Phineas Gage, man.
Okay.
I got a cigar coming in the office and I started yelling. And they're like, what the fuck are you yelling about? And I'm like, this cigar's fucking awesome, man. We did it. We fucking did it. And yeah, that moment I'll always remember because I'm like, that's how much I love it. Like, it's so rare when you just get something, you're like, wow. And I was like, this thing rules, man. And still does to this day. And hopefully that super aged one is also really good, man.
Bob Cigar, how was your?
It was delicious. I burned it into the band.
Nice. Bob Cigar, do you have a favorite H99? I have one, and I'll wait. I'll go third.
My favorite H99 is the last H99 I smoked.
Oh wow! How
whatever H99 I'm
smoking,
smoking, it is the last one I smoked.
How diplomatic!
Which will be beat by the next one I smoke. But and you know what? Talking about the size of the mammoth that is Drew Estate, we got the chance to go down to the factory, and I work in a car manufacturing company. Chief worked there before, and we're in premium car levels. And so quality control is ridiculous. I was impressed at the quality control at Drew Estate, how they will run it through gauges to make sure that it's the right size. They will check it. They will inspect it as it's going. And then they will take the bundle that person made and they will weigh it. And if it doesn't match up in weight, they will take them out and they will weigh them individually. And also, as each table gets their tobacco to make their bunches, they give them just the right amount for so many cigars. And so the guys will walk around and watch to make sure that they're all dropping at the same level as it goes. So it's not like somebody says, well, I've got more of this, I'll just throw 3 leaves of this in there instead of 2, and when I get to my last ones, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got all this extra tobacco. I kind of have to fit this in. It is so important. I talked to Willie Herrera when COVID happened, and I said, or not COVID, when everything happened with the FDA, and you couldn't make new cigars, and I said a little nicer than this, but I said, so what does the master blender do when you're not making new blends? And he goes, it is more important to make the H99 or the Liga or the whatever you want to have that same experience 5 years ago it is now. Consistency is key. If you're going to continue having great cigars and having great experience, it has to continue giving that same experience. And so Drew Estate works really hard at making sure that the cigars you smoke are going to be, you only have so much time, you only have so much money. And so that investment of your time, Drew Estate wants to make sure that you've got a cigar that's going to burn well, that's going to draw well, that's going to look good, it's going to look like the other ones would, and then it's going to have the same flavors that you fell in love with at first. And I am so impressed that Drew Estate spent so much time on quality control. I was floored, to be honest.
I mean, that quality control stretches whether it's factory smokes, whether it's Nica Rusca, whether it's Liga, Acid, Deadwood. I mean, look, when we got into the bundle business, I was probably the last one to want to get into it. I was very worried that, like, hey, when we start making bundles, people now think we make very cheap cigars. But what the reality of it was, we took a different approach when we designed factory smokes, because we said, hey, what if we came out with the best tasting $2 cigar? Like, it's a paradigm, right? And it's something you got to believe in, that you're trying to make a cigar that's better than what's in the current marketplace, that's more competitive. And you know, over time, as we've watched it grow since we launched it in 2019, you know, now it's one of the industry leaders in bundles. And one of the things that I've learned is you can't attract bundle smokers if you don't have a bundle. And what it did for us is actually bring us an incredible amount of new consumers that we never reached before, because we didn't have the product for them.
Yeah.
And so the beauty of it, I mean, if you go to any online retailer website that has reviews, right, consumer reviews of a product, you'll find more reviews about factory smokes than even Acid. For some reason, that brand just connects with people where they're like, this is the best $2 cigar I've ever had. And that's really hard to find. And it's been extremely successful. And I feel very blessed, because I was like a skeptic, but we've worked so hard to design it and ramp up our production so we could try to keep it in stock. And, you know, even Nica Rusca, you know, it's $6-7 and it's a banger. And you know what? In today's economy, where it's tough out there and yeah, money's tight, well, we still got great cigars, even if you don't have a lot of money, because you know what? This company has always been blue collar and making sure that anybody with any wallet, it can hang out with us and be a part of Drew Estate and the Drew Estate experience. You just because you're not smoking Liga Privada, that doesn't mean you can't hang out with us. You know, anyone smoking cigars and wants to be a part of the experience, come through, be a part. So go to Absolutely.com/events, and you'll find every event that we have upcoming, and hopefully you have one near your house. Because the first time I went, it changed my whole, man. I met Willie Herrera rolling cigars, and I rolled a cigar for the first time, and I had just gotten into cigars. And that was real magic for me, because it just showed me something I never thought I would ever encounter.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Now, I will say, when it comes to H99, I told so at the Tour de Liga experience at the PCA, and I'm sure this has happened at the actual Tour de Liga experience, Willie Herrera, and they ask you at all of them, but Willie Herrera asked me with the H99 experience, he's like, well, which one's your favorite? And when I told him what my favorite was, his eyes got big, and he's like, really? That's your favorite? And I was like, absolutely. And it's the cigar that I'm smoking here, right? It is the H99 Pig. It is my favorite. It is for me, this cigar is a cigar that I get the most flavor out of, especially when it comes to that sweet note, right? That I was talking about earlier when we were talking about the Tabacchiatos. This cigar for me is a cigar that I get the most of that, like dried raisin plummy kind of sweetness out of on the retrohale. My favorite used to be, and what Willie Herrera said it was his favorite, is the Robusto. I love the Robusto. Robusto is a great cigar. I enjoy them all. It's not so hard for me to pick a favorite, because I do feel like the Pig and the Robusto stand out so much in the profile. I am a big fan of that, but all of them are winners. They're all great cigars. You guys did a bang up job knocking this blend out of the park, 100%.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're lucky when we get great ingredients, and we've got great talent. I mean, working with Willie, I mean, he makes great cigars happen out of nowhere, and it's an honor to work with him. And like I said, I got a meeting with him tomorrow to go work on the next set of great new ideas and drive like just the engine. You know, like every year, that's my team's job. We provide the fuel for our team to succeed. Whether that's new brand releases or things to support our marketing and things in store. So working hard, man. And like I said, it's unique, right? It's like no day is the same. We get to solve all sorts of different problems across the business, and we're banding together in a community of people that are problem solvers, that are just like care a lot, man. Like, you know, it's like we care about our customers being successful. We care about, you know, when people are not having a great day, and we try to make people have great days all the time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you guys focus on that, and that is again such a huge part of that DNA of what you guys run. Now, we are coming soon into Barn Smoker season. Are you excited for Barn Smoker season on?
I'm excited. You know, I'm excited anytime we get to get back in front of our fans. You know, I'm always next to JD and helping him with his markers and the signing game. So, you know, it's fun. And it's always amazing, because when I'm in line and I see all these people in line, I'm like, hey, how far did you come from? And, dude, people come from all over the place. And they're making a special trip to go to a special place. And when you go to the birthplace of Liga Privada in Connecticut, I mean, that to me is the most beautiful field in the world for tobacco.
Right.
And then you can go to Family Reunion. That's a luxury event in the Kentucky Castle, and it's not a huge event. And guess what? You can spend a lot of time with the people and learn. And hey, I know you from the internet. I know you're a huge Drew Estate fan. What's going on? You know, or hey, people saw me and they want me to sign something. I'm like, I'm always shocked by that, because I'm really nobody. But hey, man, people see me on the internet, and I'm like, that's cool too. It was funny the other day. My dad Googled. He tried to chat GPT who I am, and it said like, hey, I'm a cigar guy, and I'm on podcasts, and I do a lot in cigars. And he's like, check this out. I was like,
that's awesome.
That's kind of what I do, dude. Don't you know?
That's really cool.
Yeah, now, my dad's never watched any of these shows. I'm like, you gotta tune in, man. Like, I talk about cigars, and I love it.
Yeah, give me his email. I'll send him the show so he can come back and watch you after the show's over. Now, for those who might not have made it, you know, gotten the ability to go to an event yet, a Drew Estate event, and are saving up to, you know, be right there at the 12 a.m. drop of tickets next year, which event would you suggest they try to look for first? Or do you can you say, like, do you have a favorite? Or
I mean, mine's always like Connecticut, man. I mean, there's a beauty to go. Like I said, I mean, you're going and looking at the fields where Liga Privada is grown, and it's a special place, you know, especially when you go and get the opportunity to really talk to John Foster and go like, hey, how did you start? And he's like, you know, my first year I had 1/5 of one barn, and it wasn't a lot of pounds, and he probably didn't make a lot of money doing it. And I was like, how many barns you got this year? And it's like, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of barns. And I'm like, that's called hard work. And, you know, and then you're smoking all the Liga cigars. And if you're a Liga fanatic, I mean, what better place to be than being at the birthplace of it all? And you know what? I get lucky because I get to stand in the field and educate people about what happens, whether it's in the field, whether it's in the barn and fermentation and breaking down and curing tobacco, you know, and it feeds people. And we know, like, when people leave a barn smoker, if they're not talking about the cigars and the education, they're talking about the great time that they had with people. And that's what matters the most. Like I said, you know, like when somebody goes to barn smoker and they don't have any cigar friends and all of a sudden they left and now they have a bunch more cigar friends, we made a better community. And we brought people together to support the farm, to support our brands, and support Cigars for Warriors. And that, to me, is a noble purpose. You know, to be able to show people what we're about, how do we do things, and why do the things taste as good as they do, and really let people be connected to us and what we believe in. And we're believers that, you know, we really want consistency in our product. We also want really great depth of flavor in Liga Privada. And so when you go to Barn Smoker, yeah, you get all those experiences as well as a ton of other brands. You know, we have our brand activations like Deadwood, or hey, you go Undercrown and you want to roll a cigar. We got that going on. And so we're always trying to expand that experience. And, you know, hey, you've already been to 5 Barn Smokers and this is your 6th month. Well, there's something new for you. Or, hey, how many people, I swear, you know, we always ask every year, how many people this is their first barn smoker. And it's amazing to see because, you know, they're going to have one of the best days in cigars that they're ever going to have. And I always wanted to make sure that, you know, and this year in Connecticut, we got a 2-day barn smoker. So that's going to be a lot of work. But you know what? The impact that it's going to have on people is going to be amazing.
Right. And that's one of the things I was going to try to hit on was, you know, it's like Drew Estate has realized that Connecticut is the barn smoker, right? Now, you know, Kentucky, right? That's the birthplace of it, right? There's something special about Kentucky. But when it comes to the other barn smokers, Kentucky's always going to be my favorite just because that was my first barn smoker. What got me into Drew Estate really, you know, hot and heavy was the Kentucky Fire Cure Sweet. So there's a special place for that in my heart. But my second, very close second favorite is Connecticut.
And look, man, I love Florida too. I mean, if you know California, they are amazing people. And it is an honor to be able to go on a special place in tobacco as well, where they're reviving a great tradition of tobacco growing that's Florida and unique and special. And, you know, you can taste that difference in the cigar. And it's really cool. And yeah, that experience, it's all different. You know, but like me, I am so hardcore Liga. It's always my favorite one because it's like, you know, hey, my kids, man, this is the joint, you know. But don't get me wrong, man, Florida is also badass, and you know what? It's in our backyard, and it's a great time there too. And
yeah, home territory is always great.
We're blessed we can go to these things, and you know, we got our road dogs watching, and it's awesome, man. It's our community, and it's great to be able to get together when it's not barn smoker and talk about barn smokers. We get there, we all high five, woohoo, because that is a great day.
That is my favorite part.
It's like a family reunion every time we get together.
Selfishly, that is my favorite part of Barn Smoker. You know, being able to get to go and hang out and just do stuff, you know, with just the family, right? Which, I mean, the cigar community itself is a family, but there is a tight-knit group of people who work the Barn Smokers and do the stuff and hang out till 3 o'clock in the morning and smoke cigars. And that is my favorite part. You know, I've made some really good friends in the cigar community, but Jay Bates, one of the road dogs, it's funny, every single week after Chief Talk, I've got about a 35-minute drive to my house. I call him as soon as I leave here and we talk the whole way to the house.
Jay's favorite H99 is the Super Ancho, if I'm not mistaken.
It's not.
Right here.
No, the story behind that is last year, Florida Barn Smoker, we're all sitting out there having a good time. After the Barn Smoker Day, so Saturday night, we're sitting there And Jay Bates, he comes over and he's sitting with Bob the Cigar Guy at the table, and my mom was there. Maddie Rock was there, and Jay Bates was like, "Oh, I don't have a cigar to smoke," and Dad's like, "Hey, here's a Super Ancho H99." And Jay was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll smoke. If you're gonna be out here, I'll smoke it. Because that's a cigar that you don't smoke in 35 minutes, right? That's a cigar you sit back and you enjoy for a while." And like 10 minutes into the cigar, my mom gives my dad the look of, "Hey, I'm ready to go." And Dad's like, "All right, peace out." So he gave him a Super Ancho to smoke with him while he's there, and then dipped on him 20 minutes into the cigar.
Look, when the first lady says it's time to go to the room, it's time to go to the room. And I got to tell you,
yeah, family friendly.
The first lady now has a show every month, second Saturdays with the first lady, and her whole perspective is carved a lot of by Drew Estate. To be honest, she talks to the people who love people who smoke cigars that maybe not smoke cigars themselves, the wives or the husbands of the ladies who smoke, and she helps them navigate through the experience of the value of cigar smoking lifestyle. And she talks about how she thought it was just a bunch of people getting together smoking cigars, but by being behind the scenes and seeing what Drew Estate does and the community and the barn smokers and then other things that she's grown through as well, she really has found a love for the community. And so she's like, she wants to be a guidepost for people who maybe like her in the beginning thought that it's just people smoking cigars. And yes, we come together and set fire to a bunch of leaves rolled up, but it's the communication, it's the fellowship, it's the coming together of people, and it's the great leveler. You can have somebody there with a Rolex smoking a cigar right next to a guy who doesn't know if he's going to be able to pay for the damage that had to be done to his truck, right? He don't know if he can change that fuel pump, but he's going to sit down and smoke a cigar because he just needs a break.
Right.
And so, she really highlights those opportunities and stuff. And that's a lot in part by the way Drew Estate treats people, because she got to see that firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get people to be comfortable and be themselves, and the community accepts people for being themselves, you know what? You're going to have a great community. And because it's welcoming, and you know what? When it's welcoming, you want to bring even your best friends to come because they weren't there with you. And yet it's such great time, and you're going to spread that great time and positive energy because, like I said, a lot of people out there are looking for connection with people, whether it's going to be your Herf club, whether you go shooting with people, whatever your hobby is, right? And so many people sit at home and they're stressed out about work and they don't have the energy to keep up with their friends. And that happens to a lot of people. It's normal, right? And we got to be better than that and get people out there and just smoke and hang out and be people. Versus being stressed out and worried and reading bad things on the internet. It's just like be around people and be around positive people, and your life is going to be great, And we want to connect people and share in awesome experience, whether it's insane food at the Barn Smoker, great drinks, great smokes, and music, and just meeting more of the community. Whether it's, hey, you just met some retailers that you can now buy cigars from, or you met other people you just trade. Hey, I don't like this cigar. You want this one? Yeah, let's trade. It's a lot of fun, and the community is everything. I mean, when you look at studies of people that live to 100 years old, there's a commonality between them. They're all involved in some kind of community. And Japanese people actually have a thing where it's like old people get together once a month, so they have some reason to leave their house, and that's the thing. When you have that reason to leave your house, you have friends that you want to support, and you want to be around people because of their energy, their stories, their life experiences, and you want to share all that. Hey, man, that's a part of being just a part of a community and life. And, it's a good life when you have a great community of people you could be around with and enjoy those experiences and speak the same language. And that's what I really love the most about cigars. It's the community of people that love our products and love our brands. I'm just blessed because I'm well, we're going to try to always deliver for those fans and deliver new experiences and new cigars. And, hey, let's all do this together. And over the years, we can remember that barn smoker that rained out and we just sat under their tent. And I was like, that was amazing. It was a proof that you could just sit under a tent all day and have a great time. We love each other. And that's what I love about barn smoker. People walk away feeling great about cigars, Drew Estate, the brands, farms, tobacco, all of it. And that to me is worth more than anything,
Right. Speaking of the First Lady, and what you were talking about, she had a guest on her last show, Fabian Ziegler, and he talked about how he wishes that more people who have to make important decisions about things would first have to sit down around a table and smoke cigars together because of the calming effect that tobacco has on the body. And we talked about how cultures around the world for through all of history have sat around teepees or stones or castles or whatever and smoked some form of tobacco to relax, right? And it's so much easier to make big decisions when you're in a relaxed state of mind, right? You think about what's going on in the world today. I think if you just sat a lot of these people down with a couple cigars and a couple nice relaxing drinks, whether it be coffee, tea, or brown liquor, you could get around with saving a lot of money on ballistics and finding some commonality, some common ground that humans are.
Yeah, in a cigar lounge, usually you don't see people go head to head fighting about this
Right.
thing, that thing. People trying to get along. And
Right. And
not just the rule of being a cigar lounge. Don't be a jerk. You're gonna ruin everybody's cigar.
right.
I remember one time one guy came in and he just went on political rant after political rant, and you're just like, nobody came here for that. Like, can you stop that or leave? Because we didn't come here for that.
Yeah, leave the world at the door needs to be a sign that we have above the studio here and every lounge in America. It's like, leave the world at the door, come in here, be family, relax,
Get along.
Yeah, let's just have a good time. And again, we talk about it comes up a lot about the FDA and all this stuff about how especially cigars get demonized with big tobacco. And honestly, if these people just sit down with a cigar and realize the actual benefits that cigar tobacco imparts on your life with lowering your stress and giving you a little bit of time to just clear your mind and clear the air literally with just tobacco smoke is such a nice addition to what this community brings. And you're right. How many times do you go into a cigar lounge or to a cigar event and you've got people ready to throw blows? It's very rare. I mean, Drew Estate's throwing events out at farms with a bunch of dudes and chicks drinking, and it's the greatest time in the world. Nobody's out there trying to fight each other. Or you have people of all sorts of
what it's about.
skin color, religion bases, and it's like, we're just here to smoke and have a good time. I don't care who you vote for or who you follow on TikTok or whatever. We're just here to smoke and have a good time. That's one thing that I wish you could just grab these people who are trying to make decisions about tobacco and say, hey, come smoke cigars with us before you make this decision, because I want you to see what we see.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's like there are not kids smoking cigars.
Right.
Like premium cigars, kids are not smoking premium cigars. And we'll see how all the regulations play out, and we'll keep going to business. And we're fortunate, like I said, it's an industry that supports a lot of people in their work in America, as well as in Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic, and other countries that cultivate tobacco. And those are the people that need those jobs the most. And we want to make sure that industry continues to be strong and supports those local economies and gives people opportunities in those countries, whether it's the workers themselves or their kids. And giving people opportunity, because in Esteli, having a cigar job is a high paying job versus a lot of other things that you can do. So for us, we try to be good employers, stable employers, and a company that the local community can look up to because of our position in the community and the care that we put into it. Because you can be a bad employer and just fire everybody, when things get tough or something like that. And plenty of companies take those options. But, at the end of the day, those are real people.
Right.
And I was taught very early in the company, and somebody had told me, they're like, the saddest day is when people got to get let go or something. And fortunately, the business has been good, and we haven't had to do any of that stuff. But, that I imagine is the worst part of anybody's job, in the course of the year, at other companies or whatever the case is. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's about people, and it's about supporting those people. And smoking cigars is a big part about supporting our communities out in Nicaragua. And to me, I'm always proud that we try to serve our consumer community, and then they in return support our Nicaraguan community. And you know what? We all lift each other up. And you know what? The most important thing that everybody gives us, it's not money, it's their time and care. And you know what? Those things don't cost money, but they do cost you something, and their time you never get back. And we want to make sure people spend time with us. It's not wasted, because you could waste your time with a lot of bad things. And you know what? We never want to waste people's time. Guess what? For some people, I mean, I've heard people travel 20 some hours to get the barn smoker. And what? We're going to deliver less than exceptional? No, man. We're going to try to blow it out, because that's who we are. And we want to try to please people and make sure that, hey, you took the time to go, you wait in line to go get a barn smoker ticket at midnight. Then you booked all this travel. You took time off of work, and then you spent all this money and you didn't have a good time. Man, we didn't do a good job.
Right.
And you know what? We want to try to earn people's loyalty and earn people's respect. And you can't do that if you don't care about people.
Right. That's one of the things that we take really seriously here with Chief Talk, especially is, you know, we try to foster a community here of just, you know, we don't want you to waste your time. We don't want you to come on a Chief Talk and spend almost 2 hours of your Thursday evening when you could be doing something else. Or if they watch it back on a replay, or they listen to it on the car on the way to work or something like that. It's, you know, we want this to be something that has value. And so, like, Chief Talk is not a weekly, you know, cigar show that brings on a lot of guests every week. And, you know, there are shows out there that do that. And, you know, we love that there are people out there that get to, you know, put their brand out there for people to see. For Chief Talk, what we really wanted to be was just a 2 hour smoke sesh, where, you know, we interact with people who, you know, come to watch us every week. And as I said earlier, like, this is, you know, we started the counter at, you know, the first show in January. We're going to see how many shows in a row we can go with 20 plus people across both platforms. And every single week, we've got 20 plus people who are watching concurrently at one time throughout the show. So, you know, 20 people doesn't sound like a bunch, but if you sit on a stage and you've got, you know, a small room and 20 people sitting out in the crowd, it's like, oh man, there's 20 people who decided to come and sit and hang out for a couple hours with us. And, you know, it's the same thing for you guys. You're making a product where, you know, thousands of people are choosing to sit down for an hour or do yard work for an hour, or, you know, their daily commute back and forth to work or whatever it be, sit on vacation. Like, it's got to be such an honor for you guys at Drew Estate to see people posting vacation pictures with your cigars. Like, they're on vacation.
I mean, look, we had the Florida Panthers smoking our cigars, and they just achieved one of the greatest moments in their career. Something like when you're a little kid, you spent your entire life to go get to that point, and they had our cigars at that time. And I'm just always like, when I see like huge professional sports athletes smoking our cigars in one of the best moments of their lives, I'm like, that's amazing to me. And we're blessed that, like, people think about our brands to go celebrate those moments. And I'm always like, that to me tells me what the brand is, what people think about it. And you know what? Shows like this, I remember when I got into cigars, you know, just as a casual smoker, I tuned into a show, you know, and back in the day, it was Cigar Federation, and they had cigar chat every week. And I would tune in and listen to the stories of so many manufacturers. And what impressed me was the passion to the craft of making great cigars, the care that they've had for the people in the countries that they make cigars in, and just everybody's unique journey through this industry, and how unique everybody's journey has been. You know, whether you come from a family business, whether you came from nowhere, maybe you just started your own company out of nowhere. But you know what? It takes a lot of grit to be successful in cigars. And I've been in cigars now, I can't even believe it, almost 10 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
So much. And it's never enough. I'm always trying to learn more. I'm always trying to do more. And my boss is Jonathan Drew. He always wants to do more. And you know, I'm always like, you tell me what the vision is, and we'll build you that house, whatever it is. Man. But you just show us the direction and give us enough detail, and we'll get it done. And I've been very proud to be the leader of brand management at Drew Estate. And every year my responsibility is like all the new fuel that comes out every year. And I'm like, every year the bar is higher. This year I anticipate will be the biggest year in Drew Estate releases in company history.
Wow.
Big, bold claim, but I think we're going to get there. And I'm extremely excited because we've been working around the clock, and it's hard, but you know, great things don't come from coasting, and we're not people that are complacent. And that lack of complacency is what makes the place a special place, because it's like everybody wants to do something cool. And we get a whole bunch of people that are like, that is cool. We're going to do it because we know it's cool, you know, and we want our brands to be cool. And we want the Drew Estate experience to just have those moments in your life where you're like, damn, that was really meaningful, impactful, and it meant a lot to me. And, times that I can spend with you guys, I've been wanting to do this for a while. So I'm so happy I could spend time with you guys. And it's so great to just see you guys. And anytime you guys want to smoke, I'm down to smoke. I miss you guys, man. And it's so great to be here, man.
Oh, I'm thankful when you said that you were willing to come on when I talked to you at PCA. It really did my heart well that you wanted to take the time to sit out and hang out with us and the people who watch us every week. And we're always super grateful for Drew Estate for everything that they do for us. There's so much that Drew Estate is responsible for to make sure that this happens every week. Not only just Chief Talk, but the stuff that gets produced throughout the week with our videos that gets put out through Bob the Cigar Guy and his reviews. And then obviously the traveling, PCA is completely because of Drew Estate and what you guys, feel like and you believe in us. And, that's such a badge of honor to have, especially for you to sit there and say that, you guys want to work with people of high character and, people that you see, have a vision. You said earlier, it kind of touched me a little bit. It was like, if we find somebody that, we're working with that's just doesn't have the vision that we go with, it's like, okay, we hate to see you go, but we need people who are, trying to push this vision out. And the fact that you guys have been with us for so long, kind of echoes into me. It's like, oh, they really appreciate, what our vision is with them and what we do. And so I'm super thankful that you, one, would come on and hang out with us. But two, what you guys do for us, off camera as well.
Yeah, no, you guys, I remember the first time I even met you guys. I never met you guys, and people just talk so highly of you guys. And when I met you guys were the people that I heard about. And you know what? It's been that same ride for the entire time I've known you guys, and love you guys. And I really enjoy spending time with you guys because you guys are positive people, man. And
thanks, man.
We need more positive people in cigars. We need more people to help tell the story of cigars. And you know what, man? Like, that Discord is a big deal to me because I want to be a part of it now, and I want to be part of your community. And you know what? I'm in.
That's awesome. No, I'll make sure I send you that link.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. So right here at the 2-hour mark, and we do want to make sure that everybody remembers that Chief Talk is brought to you by the wonderful people at Drew Estate and Natura Cigar every single week, making sure that Chief Talk and Bob the Cigar Guy can be here on the airwaves, making sure that you have a little time to take a break during the week and smoke cigars and have a good time. Now, we are going to end the show here in just a couple of minutes. Do you have anything that you can tell the people to kind of look forward to? You don't have to, be, super surgical with it and tell them exactly what it is, but maybe to keep their eye out for something. Actually, hold on. I do want to add one thing to the show while you're here. And it's this. Let me share this. All right. Can you see that over there, Bob? You see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So today, Drew Estate released that the S.C. DuPont Liga Privada collection now it will include the Rare Savage Feast cigars. What was a little bit of the drive that went into that on? Because you guys released this at PCA with the regular Liga 10 cigars. And the humidor and the cutter and the lighter from S.C. DuPont in there. But what kind of went into the idea of putting in the Savage Feast option?
Yeah, actually, when we came to PCA, they did not come with any cigars. And we got a lot of feedback, man. Retailers were like, you should have put, exceptional cigars in there. And we're like, absolutely. And so, yeah, we went back from PCA and we started putting together the plan. And yeah. To put JD's event-only cigar, which you're only going to ever get if he's there, right? And now, that's the Mac Daddy set. Now you have the Boss Cigars. That's JD's cigar. You got your ST DuPont, and, it's got the iconic ping. It's custom lacquer and also palladium. Then you've also got your chrome cutter that's also a cigar stand. And then the biometric humidor, which is, one of a kind. You use a fingerprint, and it's going to unlock the humidor. That's amazing, right? And so for us, we're like, let's elevate Liga Privada. And, I sat down with S.C. DuPont, who, Les Mann out there is one of the coolest guys in the industry. He's been around for so many years and has an amazing reputation. And when our SVP of sales, he said, that's my mentor. So a guy that I respect a lot, and he said that's his mentor. I was like, I'll give that guy a lot of respect too, because that's obviously somebody very important. And he's been a great partner, to introduce us to the French team, and get this project going, which we've been working on for a lot of years. And I'm proud that we've been able to get this thing out, and the reception internationally has been outrageous. People internationally, I mean, like, they're used to buying very high end things, and I've been very surprised by the international reception. But for me, it's like, all these things are numbered, and I have the one in the world that has no number, because I too am a collector. And I'm like, one day when I'm gone, because I'll never sell this, maybe I'll probably lose it before I sell it, right? Or my kids can sell it, or whatever it is one day, and I'm just like, it's special. And I know years later, when I look back at this thing and how hard it was to make all the things, I'll be very proud of it. And when I run into somebody that's carrying that lighter and cutter, I'll be like, you're welcome.
That's awesome. Now, you guys also have a Freestyle Live coming up next month.
Yes. No, it's next week.
Yeah, July 1st. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, big news coming. Always exciting. And we got some new packs, new cigars. And
nice.
You know what? Everybody can blind taste it and tell us what they think it is. And that's the beauty of it. You're going to get the same experience as when you're at the factory getting a cigar for the first time and you don't know what it's going to be. So guess what? We light it up. And everyone, whether your palate is binary, good and bad, or whether you're like, this has taste of bread and cinnamon, it doesn't matter. Smoke it. And you're going to either love it, maybe you don't love it. I don't know. I think people are going to love this cigar. And I want that cigar to be in people's rotation. And you know what? I think it's going to happen. So we're going to see, And I think that's the beauty of Freestyle Live, the platform. And that's the beauty of having people try something without the bias of the band. Because the band can tell you so much, but you know what? Right. When you can tell people to trust their palate and their smoking experience, and they can tell us that cigar is great, I think we're doing a good job. It's very rare we put out a cigar and people are like, what the hell is this? I mean, we usually catch that before it ever gets out there,
Right. No, I'm excited. I love that you guys do the Freestyle Live program. I love that it's an opportunity for the community to be a part of it before it's released. Because you're right. When you see a band on a cigar, your presuppositions are already there, right? And this is an opportunity to kind of blind. It's like the only way you can really blind taste test anything, unless a lounge is taking bands off cigars and says, hey, you don't know what this is going to be, but this is, we'll tell you once you smoke it. And I love that you guys do that. You also, make it, something that includes a little bit of swag as well. And, sometimes you can win some really cool stuff like motorcycles and cryptocurrency and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for it, that you guys are doing that next week, July 1st. That's awesome. So thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate this. I can't state it enough. We really appreciate you as just being on before you are on of Drew Estate. We really appreciate you for who you are. We love that you're somebody who loves the community and loves giving back and takes that as a part of their drive to make sure, as a brand manager, right? With so much that you do, you want to make sure that you guys are making something that not only, makes money, right? But you want to make something that somebody is proud to smoke during their hour and a half time of respite or on their vacation or their ride home from work. You want to provide something that gives somebody a little bit of time to just enjoy and not have to worry about. So I appreciate that as a personality trait for you on. Again, Bob the Cigar Guy and I, when we talk about bringing guests on or working with companies, we have a rigorous process of people that we will and will not bring on the show. And we've made some of those hard decisions of saying, you know what, we're not gonna go through with that. And you were somebody who, it was easy. We didn't have to do any kind of, pre-sheet fill out of what we need to do. It's like, we know On's our man. So I'm thankful that, and honored that you took the time to come and hang out with us here.
Yeah, thanks you so much. And, we've been successful because we try to do the right things. I've been taught as a young person all my life, if you do the right things, good things will happen. And in business, we try to do the right things all the time with our retailers, our people in Nicaragua, our team, and our consumers. And that to us, success comes from that, doing the right things. And there's companies that's not the number one thing on their priority list. And I'm like, that's always number one on our priority list, because You know, like being successful, it doesn't come from trying to cheat people and trying to take shortcuts. It comes from the hard work, comes from planning, it comes from drive. And we have a lot of drive to achieve. And I'm excited to see the next wave of things we unleash, because I don't know, man, it's exciting for us. And my favorite thing is when people are like, that's my cigar now. And I'm like, that's right, man. I love that it's your cigar now, because it's like we did the right thing. We came out with an awesome cigar.
That's awesome. Bob the Cigar Guy, before we let on go.
I was so stoked when Steven said we didn't even leave PCA. We were still in New Orleans, and he told me that you were wanting to come on, and I was so hoping and that the on that would come on the show would be the on that I know sitting around the picnic table, the guy that I call my friend. And this is exactly what it was. I wanted people to be able to see what I get to see, what I get to enjoy. And that's the genuineness, the drive, the passion, the real on. And I love the fact that we got to share this experience with other people, because I don't want to share this experience with everybody, a barn smoker, because I'm kind of stingy. I like that small little group of people that, you know, we sweat and we bleed for the barn smokers, and we get to hang out with the people that sweat and bleed every day for Drew Estate, and we get to take off all the little costumes that we have to wear in front of everybody and just be real and be ourselves, and warts and all. And I just love the fact that you're willing to be genuine and come on and just be who you are. And I know Chief's going to end this thing, but I got to say, this is the last Chief Talk of this month. And all month we've been highlighting that it's Men's Mental Health Awareness. We highly recommend, if you are of age and cigar smoking is your thing, that may be a good moment for you to take a pause when life gets heavy, and maybe grab a couple cigars and call up a friend and sit down and talk with them a little bit, because maybe they're going through something too, and maybe y'all can just be a sounding board for each other through these times. And life is hard. Life be lifing. And for me personally, you know, spending time with my family is very important, but also getting alone or getting with a couple people and just smoking cigars and just decompressing is so important in my rituals of the things that just help me get through the day. And so I'm glad that Drew Estate has partnered with us and their friends and family. Y'all are family. Until y'all file a restraining order, we're coming to every barn smoker that y'all let us walk through. That is for sure.
All right. Thank you on for hanging out with us. We really appreciate you coming on, and you know, it's a pleasure to have you, and we are looking forward to seeing you in just a couple months with Barn Smoker. So
yeah, and thank you for having me, man. I can't wait to join this Discord and meet a whole bunch of people and have a great time, man.
Absolutely, man.
And thank you for helping me tell our story. You know, that to me, it's not a lot of places where we do it, but when we can, I love spending the time and just being able to just say what we do every day and show people who we are, man. And that, because it's like who we are every day. I don't go on the internet and just say all that. I really believe in the things I say, man. And we try to live what we say every day.
100%.
Live by our values, you know, and our values are like give more than you take. It's those common core values that cigar smoking teaches you. And I'm always blessed. I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for you guys. And thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. All right, so I'm going to come back over here and do one of these numbers to make sure that you all know that Drew Estate and Natura Cigar are making sure that Chief Talk is brought to you every single week here on Chief Talk on the Bob Cigar YouTube channel and ChefReport.com. As Bob mentioned earlier, this is the end of June for us. And you know, we definitely want to make sure that we highlight men's mental health awareness every show, and we mean it 100%. If you need somebody to talk to, you need somebody to reach out to, female as well. It doesn't matter. It's not just going to stop here in June. We definitely want to make ourselves available to you all. So hit us in the DMs, hit the Discord. There are plenty of people who would love to see you here tomorrow. We love you all. We thank you all for hanging out with us, and we will not have a show next week. Next week is the 4th of July week. We always take that week off with traveling and vacationing, and you guys, you know, not spending your time on vacation having to watch us, you know, sit here and talk for a couple hours. We will miss you all. Have a fun time. If you're lighting off fireworks, do it safely. Come back with all of the fingers that you have right now. So if you have 9 fingers, please come back with 9 fingers. We love you. We thank you all for hanging out with us yet again. And we will see you in 2 wonderful weeks.
Have you checked out ChevetteReport.com? It's the newest cigar media outlet to keep you in the know with all things cigar lifestyle related. From press releases to reviews, we have it all covered. Be some of our first members to join ChevetteReport.com and be a part of the next step in the cigar culture. ChevetteReport.com.
Time to relax. Whew. Man, I'm beat. Whew. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Show's over. Go home. Go home. Show's over. What are you waiting for? You waiting for another show? This is a 1-ticket entry. Go. Bye. Go. Go. Go.